Hello everybody, I'm your host George and welcome back to another episode of Reach into History. Today we will be continuing with our new series of videos on the French Revolution by discussing the political background of the revolution. I wanted to lay down some basics about this through the causes episode, which was episode 1, but I feel it will be beneficial to go back over the background in a little bit more detail. Prior to the revolution, France was an absolute monarchy, known as the Ancien Régime. In practice, the power of the monarchy was typically kept in check by the nobility, the Roman Catholic Church, the judicial parliaments, national and local customs, and the threat of insurrection. Prior to 1789, the last severe threat to the monarchy was the Fronde civil wars from 1648 to 1653, during the minority of Louis XIV. Although the earlier reign of Louis XIII had already seen a move towards centralisation, the adulthood of Louis XIV marked the peak of the French monarchy's power. His tactics for bringing the nobility under control included inviting them to stay at his extravagant Palace of Versailles and to participate in elaborate court rituals. Some scholars have argued that Louis XIV contributed to the monarchy's downfall by failing to reform the government's institutions while the monarchy was still secure. Others argue that Louis XIV cannot be held responsible for problems that would emerge over 70 years after his death. His successor, Louis XV, was far less interested in governing, and his reign saw a decline in the power that the monarchy held. Historians generally describe his reign as a period of stagnation, setbacks in foreign policy, and growing popular discontent against the monarchy. His affairs with the succession of mistresses also damaged the reputation of the Ancien Régime. During the reign of Louis XVI, the power and prestige of the monarchy had declined so much that the king struggled to overcome aristocratic resistance to fiscal reform, with the parliaments often being focal points for this resistance. The parliaments were regional courts of appeal, which had the power to block implementation of legislation in their provinces. They were dominated by the regional nobility. The power of the parliaments had been curtailed by Louis XIV, but mostly reinstated by Louis XV. In 1770, Louis XV and René de Maupeou again curtailed the power of the parlements, except for the Parlement of Paris, which was the most powerful. Louis XVI reinstated them in his early reign. Alfred Cobbin describes the Parlement of Paris as though no more in fact a small, selfish, proud, and venal oligarchy. It regarded itself, and was regarded by public opinion, as the guardian of constitutional liberties in France. Having already obstructed tax reform proposals during the reign of Louis XV, the parlements would play a major role in obstructing Louis XVI's attempts to solve the debt crisis. Traditionally, a king could quell an unruly parliament by conducting a lit de justice ceremony, in which he would appear in person to demand that they register an edict. However, by 1787, Louis XVI could not get this to work. The parlements enjoyed wider support from the commoners, who appreciated their efforts in keeping royal power in check. This placed Louis XVI at a disadvantage when he attempted to coerce and then suppress them in 1787 to 1788. Thank you everybody so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content, and leave a comment telling me what you'd like to see next time, whether it be continuing this series or taking a small break for another video on a different topic. I have been recommended to put some references in the description for my video, so I'll test that out for today's video. So if you want to check out some of my sources, then head down to the description below. Also, don't forget to check out my Twitter page at reach_history for video updates and more. I hope to see you again soon.